Ariel Adams didn't just start a blog. He left his day job as a lawyer and started an entire media outlet. I was deeply interested in sitting down with Ariel, someone who is well connected and for all intents and purposes is an industry insider in a way very few are. Ariel knows the watch industry as well, if not better than most. He's been a very long-term player in the space and has a grasp on things in a way many of us can learn from. I'm excited to share this very poignant conversation with all of you, so I hope you enjoy it. Without further ado, here's my chat with Ariel Adams from A Blog to Watch. I'm your host, Wesley Smith, and you're listening to the Standard Age Podcast.
Hello.
Hello. Ariel, thanks for having me in your home, no less. I think it's preferred to do podcasts in person. I think the audio is better. It's easier to edit. So selfishly, thank you.
No, my pleasure. And you came to me, so I can't complain.
Yeah. You live, we won't dox you, but you're in the Valley.
Yeah.
In probably one of the more architecturally diverse neighborhoods I've ever been in.
I think the whole valley is very diverse. I mean, I grew up in this not too far from here, and I've traveled a lot. In the valley, because there's not really a lot of restrictions related to weather, people kind of just build whatever they like. So you have this combination of like fantasy homes. You have post-World War II track homes. A lot of them were carpenter style, which has been quite in vogue. You have a lot of Spanish style, Mediterranean style. You have a lot of actually English Tudor style all over the place. So if you want to drive around and do like a survey of world home architecture, like the San Fernando Valley's got everything.
Yeah. You have something around the corner, which is like a massive 80s looking, like modern home from the, like it belongs in Miami Vice, this house. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
The thing is, there's so many.
Okay.
Like well, in this neighborhood, I'm like, which one?
Yeah, obviously.
Which
I came
compound?
a specific road, so it was just around the corner. But yeah, it was massive, and there was like a bright blue 911 Turbo S that was leaving the neighborhood. I don't know where it came from, but is this a big car community? Do you see a lot of cars around here?
Yeah, I mean, the
like
entire...
Like good cars. Of course, you see a lot of cars here.
Wesley, the entire Southern California area is like car central of the planet.
Yeah, no, I know that, but I just didn't know if like your neighbors are big car people. Like if you know anybody.
Here's what I've learned. There's so many car people in our industry. I do not want to have any more car conversations.
Okay.
So there's definitely car people in the neighborhood. I remember I was working recently with Marathon and they did the Jeep relationship. And then I just suddenly noticed that within the neighborhood here, like there was 3 original like Willis Jeeps, like just in front of people's homes. Like I never noticed them before. Right. Like that's a collector car, right? And there was like 3 around here, and I just happened to be looking for them. So, I mean, the San Fernando Valley is the type of place where you drive down the road and be like a DeLorean parked in front of someone's house.
Right, right.
You know, like they're not even hidden. They're just like outside for you to see. And I take that for granted, but that's clearly not what it's like around the world.
It's funny you should mention the DeLorean because I just saw, I think it was yesterday, through a post that it was like a feature of the house from Back to the Future. I think where Doc lived, speaking of DeLorean.
Yeah, I mean, that was all filmed, you know, a lot in this area and things like that. So, yeah, I remember I forget who does it now. Google used to do it, but like you could just go online and search for, you know, film locations. And like it shows you all these locations and what was filmed there. And I think that's still around, but what a good tool. I mean, it's great for LA tourism now that like we need it.
Right. Well, yeah, I think the mall from the parking lot where they first did the flux capacitor thing.
Yeah. Was it? That's
I think
more
it's
south, right?
Isn't that off the 405, I think?
Oh gosh, maybe.
I think it's south of like Torrance. It's like down that way somewhere.
Yeah. So more south for
or
sure.
Like, or maybe off the 110 or 605. Like it's down in that sort of Torrance, like 405 neighborhood.
You know, I have... Actually, I didn't get it for that reason, but in that scene, he was Doc was wearing a Seiko calculator watch, which I have.
Amazing.
Yeah, I think it was Seiko's first calculator watch. Someone actually gave it to me as a gift, but it actually
like
happened.
The silver looking one?
Yeah, the one with the bracelet and all that.
Yeah.
So I have that, and what's funny, it came with a stylus.
Oh,
so
no
they like
way.
Assumed like
because the buttons were too small.
Yeah, so there was a stylus that came with it. I was like, and here's a funny thing. The stylus kind of looked like a pen, had like a little clip. And so the idea was that, and I'm guessing, the stylus would go in your like pocket protector.
Sure, of course. Yeah. Even though you wouldn't need a pocket protector because there's no ink, but
like that's who
that's
they thought. They're
hilarious.
like, the person that wears this watch also has, pens in their front pocket that they can
Right.
add this to.
Right. That's amazing. Yeah, that's so funny to think about. What was the first CD you ever bought with your own money?
CD I bought with my own money. It was probably, Tower Records that was on Ventura Boulevard, not too far from here.
Okay.
When was I starting to buy with my own money? It was kind of like when Nirvana was really popular.
Okay. Never mind.
Might have been one of those. Actually, ironically, right behind you, that green case is all my CDs that I bought as a kid. So it's probably in there.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's for my kids, so they like actually know what that's all about. But
Right.
I mean, I haven't bought a CD in years, but that's my whole collection from when I bought it, and I did buy all those.
Okay. You have a lot of things. It's like sensory overload in this room. This is
Sorry.
obviously somewhat of an office, let's call it, but there's a TV in here and a sofa. But I know you don't want to talk about cars. You're going to have to talk to me about cars because you have Lamborghini models on your bookshelves.
Do you do a lot of car stuff on your thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you for verifying you don't listen to the show.
No, I didn't know it was all car stuff.
No, it's not. It's not.
Okay.
No, it's definitely cars and watches.
Because there's some shows that like they have to have car elements all the time. You know what I mean?
No, we
like,
do and don't.
We've gone off topic for too long.
Right. No. It's guest dependent, I would say.
Okay.
But you have Lambo model. Are you a Lambo guy? Is that your make of choice?
Well, I would probably get a Lamborghini between that and a Ferrari.
Okay.
Not because it's like some type of specific performance thing or tech thing. I think Ferrari as a brand is very off-putting to someone like me. Not that I can afford them right now, but like I don't aspire. That what I hear about doing business with Ferrari makes me want to go to literally anyone else.
Okay, so when you say someone like you, what do you mean by that?
I'm not impressed by brands that are popular.
Okay.
They want you to be impressed with how popular they are and put up by jumping through a bunch of hoops. And we see this in the watch industry too, because other people want them as well. And my perspective is, there's someone else out there that does also awesome stuff that wants my money and will make me feel good about myself. Have fun with all your repeat business.
Yeah, no, that's fair. No, completely.
I'm not
fair.
saying Lamborghini's that different. I don't know, but I don't think they have that reputation. They seem to be a lot happier about your business. Plus, I like their design ethos.
Okay.
Ferrari has a lot of beautiful vehicles, but I find their interiors to be kind of like boring, to be honest.
Interesting.
And I think that Lamborghini, not every model to be sure, but I think when the Murcielago came out, I sort of rediscovered it. I think the 80s ones, like the Countach, those are ugly. They had some ugly stuff. It's cool looking, but it was ugly. But they started getting really pretty. I've driven some of the fun stuff, the Aventadors, and they're a hoot to drive. They're not designed to be like you drive once in a while. They're designed to be driven like all the time. I'm not saying they're like Porsche practical, but if I had to go with like a supercar, yeah, I think that would be very high on my list.
Where were you driving an Aventador?
I don't know, some event probably with was either Roger Dubuis or Blancpain, because both of those brands had done something. We recently, I didn't go because I didn't have time, but we just got invited. I think Sean on my team went to a Lamborghini party at Pebble Beach with Roger Dubuis.
Okay.
They currently have a relationship.
Is that like the Super Trofeo, like sponsorship or something?
No, it's like an official car and watch brand thing. They've done it a few things. You're right. They still have to figure that out. That is like two cool brands, but that watch doesn't really. It doesn't have the best of either world. It's not the best Roger Dubuis, and it's not like the best Lamborghini design language. There's just some interesting ones. But anyways, we know the car-watch relationship is hard to get right.
Right. Yeah. It's either too on the nose and it's awful, or it's just, like you say, like it's kind of it's missing both marks, I feel like.
I mean, so I had an interesting discussion a few days ago with a guy from Porsche Design. And Porsche Design, I mean, yes, it's obviously connected to it. They told me that 70% of their sales over the last several years was a watch and car purchase. So the car, they were like, hey, you're buying a GT3. Do you want to get a watch to match it? It'll be another, I don't know, $10,000-12,000, and someone's like, sure, can you do the color of the seats or the wheels or whatever? And
Right.
So that's 70% of their business. They figured out the car watch thing. Some famous failures were, of course, I love the Ferrari Panerai one. That's a famous failure. Not a lot of people liked the Breitling Bentley thing, though I think some of those things had merit.
Mm.
I think Hublot and Ferrari was really cool. I think McLaren and Ferrari is dumb. I'm sorry, not McLaren. Richard Mille and Ferrari, and Richard Mille's also done McLaren. I don't see like the thin watch that has like the Ferrari logo slapped on it. Like that was bad and lazy. That was really bad.
That like credit card thin or like
Yeah.
thinner than a credit card watch.
Yeah, but that design, that thin watch has nothing to do. Like Ferrari isn't like the thinnest car.
Right.
Like I don't understand what the
Maybe it's the lightweight thing.
No, it's nothing. They were like, oh, we want to celebrate this relationship. Oh my God, look, there's space on this face. There's nothing else there. We'll put the logo and we'll tell people and they'll believe us.
That's so funny.
Look, I like Richard Mille, but they they're doing this thing. They're making the best out of marketing. They don't really care if it makes sense. No one in this industry really does.
Yeah, I mean, what can you say about Richard Mille other than the marketing prowess that they possess? I mean, they're experts at marketing, I would say.
No, here's what people don't understand. They do marketing. It's not about experts. They've had just as many misses as they've had successes. They keep doing, they keep spending. All these other brands are like, wait a minute, tell me how I'm going to make money before I spend money. And Richard Mille's like, that's dumb. You're not going to get any success that way. He's like, let's try it. And he himself has been at the forefront. He used to go, his reputation for going to events and being like, I want you wearing our watch. Like, he would just make choices. He would be highly decisive. He wouldn't get a committee to decide, is this the right person?
Right.
He would just do it. So, yes, they have a reputation for success, but it's because they're doers. They're not, let's see, let's evaluate, let's measure, let's test, let's see what other people are doing. They just decide to do it, and then they, have the courage to charge a lot of money for their work, and that's been a successful model. But it's because they just are decisive.
Mm-hmm. Where'd you go to undergrad?
University of Arizona, Tucson.
What'd you study?
Communication.
Okay. So one might argue that's a pretty vague major, right? Like you can apply that to many different things.
I did not know the reputation the major had when I chose it.
Why did you choose it?
So I was undecided, and I had I guess college's version of a guidance counselor. I don't remember what they were called. And they were describing the major to me. I remember this meeting, and it sounded fascinating. It was the right blend of psychology and science and research and sociology. And I was like, wow, this sounds right up my alley.
Right.
I had also decided at the time that I was probably going to go to law school afterwards. And it also connected with the skills that I thought, was relevant there. And then when I started taking classes, I realized that it had there was two sides to this major. There was the intellectually interesting side that appealed to me and a select amount of others, including, of course, the professors.
Right.
And then it was also known as a major that it was hard to get an A, but easy to get a C.
Right.
So there was a lot of people who were not serious students or in an athletic department that would go. Now, one of the reasons I chose the major is I had not a lot of night classes, which is great for me because I'm a night person. But then, ironically, the same people that like the night classes were not the most serious or academically inclined.
Right.
So it was a lot of me raising my hand.
Wow. Okay, so wait, did you go to law school? Were you a lawyer?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Where did you go to law school?
Up in San Francisco at Golden Gate University.
Okay,
Yeah.
sure. And I'm assuming you practiced out of school?
So I started the Blog to Watch website about a month after I took the bar exam.
Oh, funny.
So I didn't even have my results yet. And that takes I think 3 or 4 months, something like that. So this has sort of been simultaneous. So I was working at a company for about 2 years, and then I stopped that to do a Blog to Watch full time. So
wow.
Limited actual real world practice experience, but I've kept us out of trouble.
Right, sure. Yeah, I mean that's nice to have that knowledge for any business, really. So my understanding is you started a blog to watch, what, 2007?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did that for 2 years simultaneously. Were you in-house counsel or were you at a firm?
I was at a company. I guess I was in-house counsel. I was too young to be like taken seriously as one, but
Sure.
they did need one. And while I was there, I kept them out of trouble. The time I left was 2009, and that
Right.
was like a financial crisis. So that company was going under. A lot of companies were going under,
Okay.
and I had to make a decision if I was going to try to get a different job in the legal field or do something myself. I chose to do something myself. It was a risky thing to do. I didn't know what would happen, but it ended up working out.
Yeah. So what was that first year like on your own? Like, how'd you make money?
I was selling advertising, and at the time, it was a very, very, very different market. I have to emphasize very. Very little about what was going on in internet media or advertising is similar to this today.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a full-on generational difference. A lot of advertisers would come to me. Now, mind you, the amount of money they're willing to spend was tiny. But
yeah,
I
it was like
alone.
$5,000 for something.
No, it was like in the hundreds of dollars.
Oh, wow, Jesus. Okay.
Yeah. So, but like that's what they were used to spending. That's like a forum, like an ad on a forum was like, like a few $100 a month.
Wow.
So advertising to the watch audience was cheap, but I was alone. And, if I had a dozen advertisers, even if they're spending just a few $100 a month, that was fine for me.
So you were on the forums, I take it, prior to this and all that jazz?
To a degree. I didn't like participating because I didn't like the culture and the rules and the clubbiness to it. It seemed like a very unwelcoming place.
Interesting. Okay. What would have been, say, your Grail watch in 2007?
I don't know that I had Grail watches. I was obviously avidly reading about watches, and I'd been collecting watches for a while. I was more about exploring. The idea of having a Grail watch that you had this one thing, if I get that, I'm done. I didn't want to finish. I didn't want to have an end. I feel a Grail is a moment of cessation. I gotta finish and move on with my life.
Sure.
I don't know that that's actually an outcome most people want from this hobby.
So a blog to watch, would you say the impetus was just to document your own exploration, or what was sort of the motivation to start it?
I felt two things at the time that was missing. One, there was really no outlet for opinion. All the watch media that existed, especially in print, was a description of the watches at best.
Press releases.
No opinion.
Yeah.
Yes, there was obviously, most of the inspiration was from a press release. No original photography at all. So, you really didn't know anything about these products other than some of them existed. And so the one thing I wanted to add was some actual opinion, but not within the careful environment of these forum communities where, someone would ban you because you mentioned the price. That, that might still be a thing, but that was a rule.
Really?
On certain, time zone. If you talked about price, you were banned. Crazy stuff. And they had all these justifications for it, and I was like, this is dumb.
What was the justification? Enlighten me.
Well, a lot of it had to do with sensitivity around how they made money. So they had, what happened at the time is brands would sometimes sponsor a forum. So there'd be the brand discussion forum on Time Zone that the brand would pay for, and they would expect moderation. And what that meant was essentially getting rid of anything sensitive or negative. So if someone said your watch is too expensive, that would be considered negative.
I see. So okay. So it wasn't mentioning the price; it was mentioning the price in a negative fashion.
Well,
it wasn't just hey, this watch costs $10,950.
Sometimes they wouldn't even want to do that. It was literally if you didn't just mention the retail price. I don't remember what the rules were exactly.
Sure.
I didn't really participate, but it was a sticky enough issue that with other things made me realize this is not the place to participate. I would have gotten banned,
right.
Probably.
Right.
The second thing that I was trying to do was educate people online, because these magazines were very selective with their distribution. And again, I noticed the forums were not trying to be open to the public. They were not trying to say hey, mainstream, learn about watches. It was sort of discussions. Sometimes they would like mention new releases. And I just wanted to have a place where I could comment about the new watches coming out. And for a while, that's what I was doing. It was not just new watches coming out because, there was watches that were already existing I want to talk about. But my process is every single day, I would write at least one article. When I started doing a lot of freelance writing, it multiplied, and there was days where I was writing like 5 articles a day, really.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I had some crazy output for a few years. But that was my job. It was just, make sure you get one piece of content up a day for a blog to watch and try to work on the business a little bit, sell some advertising, improve the website, make relationships with brands. And I just been doing that, and building upon that since 2007.
Who would you say is your closest relationship currently? Who do you work most with, I guess?
Be more specific. In what regard?
And if you were to say,
like on my team,
I am closest to brands, like what brand do you work closest with?
I think it's wise in my line of work not to become too close to any brand.
Sure.
You're really bound to get disappointed. I think that disappointment is a huge thing in the creative space. And these brands, they're run like businesses. They're not run like friendship departments, even though they rely on relationships. So if you have the expectation that these brands will value the relationship and sort of be good to you, you will be disappointed.
Interesting.
But if you acknowledge that they're going to be a business and act like a business and be a professional and offer business services, you'll be let down a lot less often. I've definitely been screwed in a lot of ways, not just ethically, but full on lying and cheating and stealing and things like that. Anybody that does business long enough has those precise same experiences. But I think the mistake is to assume that the next one they're going to be my friend.
Yeah, no, I've experienced this myself, even as like, I don't even know how you consider standard H. I'm on the periphery, I would say, of the watch industry. I'm not in the watch industry. I'm clearly a partner, I guess. Like I'm a friend of the industry, let's say.
You're in the orbit.
Great descriptor. I think I've sadly bared witness to what you're talking about.
Sorry to hear that.
And it's neither here nor there. I mean, it's just going to happen. I mean, again, it's business. It's not personal, right? So,
but it is personal.
It could be.
It always is. The moment someone says it's not personal, it's instantly personal.
Well,
meaning
I think
if you were someone else, I wouldn't do this. Not that I want to hurt you, but if you were someone else, I wouldn't do this.
Well, I'm in the interesting position where I can speak to some of these brands directly, but look, the writing is on the wall. My follows and like my reach isn't as large as some other people's. So there may or may not have been times where I have approached brands to do X, Y, Z, got very little response, and yet they've done it with other entities, let's say.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
now
not
call
slighting
that
you.
Call that a coincidence, call that theft, call that happenstance. I'm not saying anybody stole anything from me.
So you
Don't
pitched
get me
an
wrong.
idea that they decided to do with someone else.
Well, the calendar displayed it in such a way that it ended up happening, but not with me.
So here's the thing, and that's a rule I have. If I have an idea or a strategy and I share it with a brand, the moment you share it, it's basically up for grabs.
Sure. Yeah. No, again, which is why I don't consider it theft, but it's also sort of this.
It's not ethical.
It's sort of like, like
it's disappointing.
This could have been me, right? And I wanted it to be me, clearly. I might cut all this out.
No, I mean, look, I think that anytime you look at social media, you run the risk of thinking, wait a minute, that could have been me. And that's a depressing thought. And I think it's just, you need to avoid it by not looking at
it just
social
sucks
media.
because it's like, it's not like I'm not trying to grow my reach, right? Like, so
hey, I'm with you there, brother.
And it sucks because it's like, this would have been me had my reach been bigger, but it's like, it's a chicken or the egg thing. Like good ideas result in better reach. And if you don't have the reach, sometimes those better ideas don't land in your lap. And so it's one of those, like, I don't know.
Well, I go back to my legal training where it's pounded in your head that you can't protect ideas.
Right.
You can protect a method or an execution or representation of an idea, but ideas themselves are not protected. So it's not good to get emotional around ideas.
Sure.
For that reason.
Yeah. I mean, look, I'm a creative at heart, so I'm a pretty emotional person, just
And
baseline.
I've been trained to work with creatives. I was
Yeah.
into entertainment law. My whole point was to sort these exact issues out with creatives. That was literally what I was training for.
Are you interested in pro bono?
I mean, I do so much of that already.
Yeah, no.
Sure.
That's hilarious. Okay, so you started as a blog. What were you publishing on early days? Was it Blogspot? Was it WordPress? What were you using?
WordPress, and we
Okay.
still use WordPress.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Cool. That's awesome.
There's not really been anything better to replace it.
Is that true? I mean, I wouldn't know. I had a Blogspot blog 15 years ago, was like the end of my blog. So I
Yeah, I remember those.
do not have my finger on that pulse.
I think that was taken over by Google, I'm pretty sure.
It wouldn't surprise me.
WordPress, continues to be run by the same company, Automatic.
Cool.
The guy that runs it likes watches. That helps. I think that he was an interesting visionary. And I think that what I really appreciate about him was it wasn't just making software. It was sort of a vision, Matt Mullenweg. It was sort of a vision about what blogs could be, what they could do. This ability for people to put good information on the internet that other people could access. And it wasn't about necessarily making it free, as in everyone was expected to do it for free, but it was about limiting barriers, making it easy to index. And it was sort of, at the same time Wikipedia was being big, it's like, let's catalog the world and use the internet as the index to share it. That vision has since eroded away in a lot of ways because of the closing of the internet, the gatekeepers like social media companies, and a lot of things. It's not good or bad, it's just an evolution. But the funny thing is it's harder than ever now to get answers from the internet that might have been easier actually a decade or more ago because of where information is, because it's really about consolidation. There's a smaller number of websites that have a larger amount of information versus a larger amount of websites that have smaller niche information. And consumers benefit most when there's these niche websites that specialize versus, something like Reddit, which serves some purposes, but ultimately also fails to deliver, I think, a lot of what people were hoping that the internet would become when the blog culture and companies like Automatic were sort of at their prime.
Interesting. Have you met Matt?
Sure, yeah.
Is he a watch guy?
Yeah, he has. I mean, I'm not going to talk about his personal collection,
Right,
but
sure.
It's high end.
Yeah, well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that Silicon Valley sort of interest.
He's like, I know that Mark Zuckerberg has recently gotten a lot of attention for sort of his
Yeah.
flashy watch wearing.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that these guys are still able to discover it. Like that watch industry is like, oh, they must have already been exposed to it. Like, no, like a lot of these guys still don't know about this hobby.
Which is so funny because he came out so winging.
Well, so Matt Mullenweg would do similar things, just no one was paying attention to his wrist. He would wear like a hoodie and like a very expensive watch.
Yeah.
And like if you knew what you were looking for, you'd see it. But at the time, like nobody was paying attention at all.
Yeah.
So I think Mr. Zuckerberg benefited from the fact that there's been a lot of like celebrity watch spotting.
Yeah.
And then he chooses. He might have even done it because of that. In fact, there's an argument to be made. He's like, wait a minute, these rappers dress like this and get attention. Now I could dress like this and get attention. And
Well,
I feel
really,
like that's what he's doing.
Really, the only thing he was missing were the watches. Like, because he is the hoodie guy, like
I haven't seen him in a hoodie in a long time.
Well, maybe he's gone counter to that, but I think Zuckerberg's the reason people wear hoodies to the office these days.
The thing it wasn't just him. You're quite possibly right that he was the one that popularized it, but that was happening before him.
Yeah. It was I have more money than you. I don't care. You can't tell me what to wear. I'm going to be comfortable.
It wasn't even about that. It was more like, this is how I perform best, is the kind of hunkering down and sitting at a desk and being comfortable. And when I'm comfortable, I can focus. Why do you guys want me to become uncomfortable just to satiate your expectations of what a business person is supposed to talk like? And there's highs and lows to that argument.
Yeah.
But it was effectively like, the business I created was me being an authentic version of myself. And now you want me to lie for like investors and for like other meetings and like for like all the HR people. Like, that doesn't make sense. That's not why I signed up for this.
A valid argument. Yeah. I mean, I don't know Zuck.
I mean, look, I was in San Francisco for a number of years. I spent 7 years up there, so I was, knee deep in this culture. I mean, I was living up there at the time when Facebook launched and stuff like that. So I was just maybe fortunate to just live in that culture, and all the people I knew, like those were the employees and things like that. So I was right there in the center of it. I mean, I remember one time I was at someone's house, and there was these guys that were doing a business at their home. And they were actually building the software that Google ended up acquiring for much of Google Maps. So I remember at the time, like literally being in this like house where these guys were developing this map thing that ended up being this ubiquitous tool that like people probably use every day.
Did you watch Silicon Valley?
Yeah.
That's such a great show.
Yeah, that was a good show.
I missed it the first time around, but my wife and I were like recently delving into that. I think we're on like season 4 at the moment, but
it's very entertaining. I really enjoy it.
Funny. Anyway, I want to talk about the photography of early days of A Blog to Watch. Like what was sort of the approach then, or how has it changed now?
Well, I mean, compared to today, my early photography sucked. I was learning as I went. There was no guides. There was no cameras focused for this. I had some prior experience with photography. I wasn't a total novice, so I liked cameras and I was comfortable with it. But I had to learn over a period of years what equipment you needed to take pictures of watches close up. Eventually the cameras themselves also got better.
Sure.
Because they were really not designed for this to begin with.
Yeah.
To this day, I have never found an automatic setting on any camera that allows you to take a picture of a watch well. Like
an automatic setting. You mean like as far as focus goes, or?
No, like, like most digital cameras have auto mode. You take pictures of people. You're not like, well, let me adjust the exposure and let me adjust this. Just the automatic, you let the camera decide what settings to do.
Right.
It has never figured out how to shoot a watch dial.
That's so funny.
Maybe others have different experience, but I have always needed to basically mess with the settings. So I know people in this hobby enjoy sort of the analog experience.
Yeah.
Photographing watches for me continues to be a highly, highly analog experience.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's fun. I mean, it's funny because like once you figure out certain bits of lighting, now granted, once you figure that out also, it becomes very repetitive. Like I think if you're going to light a watch a certain way, as a viewer, as somebody who's not a watch photographer, there's a lot of watch photography that is monotonous and boring, even though it's lit really well. Like when I scroll through Instagram, for example, there are watches on there where I'm like, yeah, but for like general Joe Schmo is like, holy shit,
I got to comment on that.
That's an incredible photo of a watch. But all you do is change the brand and swap out the watch. It's the same lighting. It's the same background. Not necessarily. Like
we don't do this.
The gadgets on the desk change.
Yeah.
But the lighting is identical. And it's just like, dude, like this is like manufacturing photography and it's just boring.
I totally agree with you. I've been aware of this for a very, very long time. The reason this happens is because it is tricky to get the lighting correct. So once the photographer feels that they have it figured out, and this comes especially from the trained ones who do studio work. They're like, you know how much time it took me to like twist this and get this all right? Like you've seen those studios. Like it's highly, it's highly manipulated and it takes a lot of work. So it makes sense. The problem is it results in this sort of generic type of picture.
Yeah.
Plus they tend to have even lighting, which creates a very small number of shadows. And as we know, it's shadows that create drama.
Yeah.
So without shadows, these pictures end up being boring, and without changing where the lights are, it creates this uniformity. So for me, I've resisted ever having such a setup. There are obviously commonalities, and I also need to probably switch things up more often, but I always make a point to stand in different places, move lights in different ways, have different intensities of light, because I've always noticed that, like you said, that results in an artistic variety that just keeps you more engaged. And
right.
I also hate those photographers that, it's like you just move the watch out and it's like the same color balance and all that. So I'm with you there 100%. And given the time I have to dedicate to photography, which is not as much as I'd like,
Sure.
I try to avoid some of those pitfalls that, again, just make things boring and not cool. I mean, I like looking at nice pictures of watches. I try to make pictures that hopefully are educational, descriptive, but I guess it's a lot of hidden time, but the amount of time I spend editing images. I don't do any automated editing. I crop each image one by one. I color correct. I twist it around. I mean, I couldn't put a number on it, but the tens of thousands of hours I put into more editing is, again, another analog part. And it makes me feel comfortable because there's like no AI that can replicate this. No photographer that wants to like set up something and just do rinse and repeat that can do this. To get it nice takes a huge amount of desire to make it different. And that's an emotional thing. You can't really hire for that.
Yeah. I think it's excusable to a degree, like say on YouTube or somewhere who's like just doing it to review a watch. Because I understand you're then dealing with video and you need to be in a studio type setting. You don't have to be. I mean, you could do it outside, but you catch my drift. Like if you're just reviewing it and moving it around and stuff, like the lighting has to be.
Well, you look at a lot of content, and there's more content that you can look at, and you're making a decision on what's boring to you. And you're right. In a information-rich ecosystem, you're trained to sort, not to focus.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well said. What software do you use to edit? Just curious.
I've been using Lightroom for a really long time. Recently, I've been interested in potentially using Adobe Bridge, which is sort of a redundant way of doing it. I still like using Lightroom a lot. I mean, I could go into that, but I realized software editing for photography.
Riveting conversation.
Yeah.
You started a podcast as well. How old is the pod now?
So I've been doing a variety of podcasts in the watch space since 2010, really. I first started doing a show we called Our Time. I did that with John Biggs for a number of years. And I don't know. I think it was probably the first watch podcast ever. I'm pretty sure. It was quite popular at the time. And for us, it was like a screw-off thing. He was doing tech journalism and liked watches. I needed a space to sort of just like have more fun because the content was kind of serious.
Yeah.
So it was a comedy show. And we were just like, we were really brutal on some stuff. We made fun of bad designs. We made fun of bad marketing. We made fun of, some of the personality types of the people that designed watches or that even wore watches.
Oh, jeez.
He actually decided to take down most of the shows.
Yeah, speaking of relationships,
it wasn't terrible. I think a lot of people said worse things, but this is sort of the height of cancel culture. It's like, oh my God, I was impersonating a French accent. I'm going to get canceled.
Right.
Like people were, legitimately worried about this stuff. Someone's going to hear my podcast and is going to think I'm being too, juvenile or something like that. I can't be, I can't be allowed on the internet. But I think it was fun at the time. I don't think we really hurt anyone's feelings too much. And then I stopped for a little bit because, again, it's not like I made any money off of it at all. And podcasting was pretty new at the time. Now it's sort of evolved a lot more. And I think especially during the pandemic, everyone wanted a podcast to be their side hustle. I think I've always been attracted to the form. I grew up listening to a lot of radio. Mm-hmm. And I like communicating with my voice. I also like listening to people speaking. So for me, I've always been naturally drawn to the medium. Then I restarted podcasting with Superlative, which is supposed to be an interview show. And it was a very simple motivation. It's 30, 40 years from now, people looking at these watches are going to have really no idea what this is all about. So I want to try to have as many personalities in the orbit of the watch industry as possible to explain the culture, to describe the why, to say who, what were these people's personalities like, what were they thinking about, and to have deeper, high level conversations, maybe sometimes philosophical, maybe experiential, about what it's like to make watches, be in this industry, things like that. And I don't know, I've done 200 episodes, maybe more at this point, probably more at this point. I haven't counted recently. I don't know how far that'll go. There's still people that want to have these conversations, and it's still good. I mean, everyone, you should be on there. So
yeah, I would love to.
It's it's the type of thing that I think it's been well received.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't judge by numbers. I judge by feedback. And when I go to events similar to you, I'm sure, and someone said, I know I heard the show, I enjoyed it. That's the measure I use.
God, doesn't that feel good?
I think it's validating. Sure, it feels good, but it's like, you know, it means that someone is paying attention, as you said, to what we're doing, but it's ultimately a motivator to keep doing it.
I mean, I think like for musicians, it's probably great to look at your Spotify analytics and see the downloads or listens. But there's probably nothing quite like that artist going into a venue and seeing the thousands of people staring back at them.
The show up,
you know? And I think that's kind of analogous, right? To the feedback I'm saying. Like having a face in front of you speak that to your face is
all I know is that if you're
nice.
doing a volunteer communication effort, and
Mm-hmm.
every podcast for the most part begins as a volunteer situation unless you're a celebrity and has a contract, and that's the exception, not the norm.
Sure.
You basically do it with the hopes you'll succeed. If no one ever complimented my podcast, but I made a bunch of money, I'd be like, okay, fine. So the question is, how are you being paid?
Yeah.
You're either paid in motivation or being paid in compensation. If you're not being paid in compensation, you need some type of currency to keep going and doing this. So with a musician, you know, a good musician puts their heart and soul into every performance.
Yeah.
What's their motivation for applying themselves? If it's an audience that came to see that, that's their motivation.
Mm-hmm.
They feel like no one's there. They're like, why am I putting all this energy and nobody cares? And we can tell the difference between a low and high energy performance.
Yeah. That's almost a mic drop, man. That's solid. So you do news, you do watch reviews, you have your podcast. What else does a blog to watch do and or host online?
Whatever the clients want. I mean, within the bounds of legality, which comes up a lot. Look, I mean, the core function of the business is to publish content for the community. We're trying to be a focal point of the hobby for not everyone. We can't serve all needs, but we want people who have considered themselves watch enthusiasts to say, I should probably go to a blog to watch because they're going to tell me about new models or brands or insights that help me participate in this hobby. We're not trying to be everything for everyone, but we're also not trying to be particularly exclusive. I like talking about low-end watches and high-end watches. For me, whatever is a good watch. I like tool watches the most. But, you know, that's what I love about having different voices. I mean, I think the norm is most publications want all the writers to have a unitary voice. And I was like, that never made sense to me. So everyone on the team is basically given free rein to talk about, you know, how they want to talk about things, often what they want to talk about. And people enjoy that. And that's honestly, I think, makes for a better tool for the community. And then the other side of it is, you know, we'll call it client services. And yes, traditionally I sell advertising, but, you know, we'll help them with events. I do consulting, writing, you know, sometimes I like to design watches. I've done a few of those projects. I don't want to do it if it's going to be a bad project. I get offered a lot, but I don't want like a blog to watch edition watch. Maybe people do. I don't necessarily want it. I'd rather be creative. And the challenge is getting someone to invest in the idea. I understand watch brands. They're cautious, and there's a lot of people that want to work with them all the time, and they're accustomed to putting minimal effort into stuff. We just want to change a dial. So I've got like an insane laundry list of like really good watch ideas. And, you know, if I ever get to make some of them, I will. They're always there. I'm working on some projects right now. You know, I'm wearing the Zodiac that I did with Zodiac. Now that brand is in like hibernation. So they're like not really around. So I don't know if my next watch with them will ever come out, even though it's done.
What do you mean by that? They're in hibernation.
Yeah, it's hard to, but pay attention to what's going on with the Fossil Group that owns Zodiac, which is an American company in Dallas that, like others, has suffered because of the fallout of the volume market. They had their co-founder leave, who retired. It was like an amicable thing, but now the people there, like, what do we do? How do we run a watch brand? And the problem is, you know, you have a bunch of business people. They're not like visionaries. They're not like watch lovers. They're like, where do I make money? And the market provides like very few signals. So there's a lot of things. I don't know all the details, but right now, Zodiac is kind of the word dead is very strong, but they're not making new watches right now, and I don't really know that anybody works there.
So you collaborated with Mike Pearson on this?
Yeah, this was when he was still there.
Yeah.
But he was not, I mean, we did an event together to launch this, but this was, honestly, mainly with the combination of the U.S. team and the Swiss team.
Okay.
For the design. They have a great group. There's a company called Antima, which I think they still own, but that is a fantastic design and fabrication house in Switzerland. I've been there. They're the ones responsible for the actual production of the better Zodiac watches.
Cool. Yeah, that's cool. You don't have a grail.
No.
What's next on the hit list, though? Like, how do you decide what to get next?
I know that a lot of people orientate themselves that way, and I think it makes sense. For me, I'm more like a kite blowing in the wind. There's always a lot of watches I like. What's going to come my way?
Mm-hmm.
What opportunity is going to come around? There's no shortage of watches I want. Practically speaking, as someone has 2 kids, like that's where all my watch money goes.
Yeah.
I will probably spend more money on watches again in the future, but as a virtue of being in this industry, I'm close to a lot of things. So I also get to handle a lot of watches. So I get my sort of like watch itch met. You know what I mean? Like I'm able to scratch it a lot. So but I understand most people who don't like have like review watches thrown at them all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to ask what I want to get next. And what I try to tell people is wait for the deal and opportunity.
Interesting.
Don't overpay for something because you're emotionally attached to it.
Yeah.
What I find is most people, the moment they actually acquire the watch, if they've been hunting for too long, they stop caring.
The joy is in the anticipation.
Well,
It's like people say that about vacations as well.
Yeah, but I think it's the thing is the vacation itself should be where the joy is. The problem is the culture creates too much buildup.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a nightclub. Imagine all the people
You're
outside.
in the line.
You're
Yeah.
all dressed up in the line.
Yeah.
So much buildup. Once you get inside, there's like nothing.
Right.
But there's so much buildup.
Yeah.
And the problem is that you should mostly focus on what are you going to do when you get there.
Mm-hmm.
What are you going to do when you get inside?
You're going to dance your ass off.
Hopefully.
Ariel.
Hopefully. So wear a watch that you want to dance with. So that's the thing. So for me, when I acquire things, I really ask myself, will I wear this thing?
What was the last club you went to?
Probably in Vegas.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
During
You a day party guy?
Day party?
Yeah. Are you at the pool?
I never wake up early enough.
Okay. Yeah. You are a night owl. I know this about you.
I'm the type of person like I miss like.
What time do you go to bed? Average. Be honest.
4 or 5.
That's insane. You have 2 children. How does this happen?
They go to bed before me.
Well, sure. Okay, so they get themselves ready for school, all the rest of that.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I do parenting stuff, but I work at home and I have to run a business, and I also, this has been my style of working for a long time. I can't just turn on a dime.
That's so interesting to me because, like, look, if you worked for a company in Geneva, I would understand, or something like,
I
Japan.
have meetings all night.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
That's
I use
so
the time.
crazy. 4 or 5.
Well, look,
Wow.
midnight is about, depending on the time zone, 8 or 9 a.m. or 10 a.m., something like that in various parts of Europe. Asia, it's later in the day. I can have, comfortable meetings with people there, and I do all the time.
That's great, man. That's really cool. How much time do you spend thinking about vintage watches?
Vintage?
Yeah.
None.
None.
No.
You're a complete modern guy.
There's some nice stories. There's some nice designs. I own some vintage watches. I don't wear any vintage watches ever. I've never felt compelled to.
Interesting.
I do understand that there's an emotional component for a lot of people that for whatever reason is lacking in modern watches. I am such a tool nerd that I appreciate the newer materials, the newer manufacturing techniques. Maybe because I understand better. I'm like, this watch is made better today. Don't you know that? And I care about that. But there's a lot of romantic stories that I understand are not necessarily met by something new that hasn't had the time to develop that history or legacy. So I'm sort of in it for a slightly different reason than others, but I don't fault anyone for being into vintage.
Sure.
Again, there's some of those stories are awesome and I love it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd love to own that watch for a collection or own a modern version of it because I like modern watches. But like, just because I like the story doesn't mean like I got to have that thing.
Right. Yeah, yeah, totally. And I think being on sort of the forefront of having these watches like handed to you for reviews and such, again, goes back to like being satiated in that way. Like I can have the story and not want it. I can have this for in review, but I don't necessarily need to buy it. You know,
Yeah.
there's that kind of thing.
I also find a lot of people genuinely believe that an older watch is like the same. They're like, oh, they look the same and they have the same materials and they do the same thing. Like, no, like, I mean,
just look at shock resistance as one.
for me, it's just the car world. Look at the car world.
Yeah.
Everyone I know that has an old car, all they do is just complain about it all the time. It's constantly breaking. I mean, if you have a house that's already breaking all the time.
Yeah, yeah.
Why do you need more stuff that breaks? And then if you ever have a boat or a plane, that's just another list of things that break all the time.
The boat is the what's the famous line? The best 2 days of owning a boat are the day you buy it and the day you sell it. Yeah, it's I got an 18-year-old car recently, and it's got little things that are getting in the way, let's say. Not of my.
Doesn't it make you just want like a Camry?
No, no, actually not. But it does. It actually does two things. It's made me want an even older car. Oh. Ironically, because it's like, well, look, if this shit's going to happen to this and it's this new, then I might as well have an even older thing, which is even more different than the newest thing that I do drive. So my GTI is the newest car I own.
Okay.
Save for my wife's. But like...
That's a great car.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with my GTI. It's actually one of my favorite cars I've ever owned. But my 18-year-old 911 is like... incredible. Like it was borderline grail type things without it being a grail, because I also would love a 74 Targa, right? And it's like, but if the 2007 thing is giving me issues, so would the 74. And the 2007 is also new enough to where I'd be like, I could drive my GTI if I wanted, you know, as I'm kind of stumbling over my words.
Sadly, we can't all afford new Porsches. That's
Right. Well, no, there's not even that. It's that I don't want a new Porsche because
you're telling me that if you could easily spend it, you wouldn't get the newest version of what you want.
Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, look, getting a 992.2 Carrera T versus a GT3 Touring, those are two different price points. Do I want a GT3 Touring? Of course.
Right. So I think it all goes down to that.
But well,
no shame in not being able to afford it.
No.
Just don't pretend that the old experience is ideally what you're looking for.
I also don't know that I would ever actually buy the Touring just due to the cost. Like, it's not, even if I could afford it, I just don't know that I would feel responsible. Like, I don't think I would buy a 5970 because of how much it costs, not because of affordability. It's just like I can get other stuff that give me the same satisfaction for less money.
My point is, I think a lot of car people, like watch people, need to be more honest with themselves, and it's fine.
Yeah.
As to what they're actually trying to buy.
Yeah.
Because they delude themselves into thinking they're looking for a different experience than they are. And I think, be honest with yourself. What is the experience you're trying to get? What are your options? How much can you afford? Because people sometimes buy watches or cars, especially old ones, and they don't really know what they're looking for.
Yeah. And with like the 911 speak, like honestly, I am obsessed with my car. It just had a freaking window switch break. And it's just like, and it's one of those things.
Pisses you off.
I'm going to talk about this. So this episode will come out after I have this discussion already on another episode that's dropping before. So sorry for the repetition for you listening. The light switch broke. You can't buy, or sorry, not the light switch, the window actuator switch, like the up or down. You can't
just buy the switch?
You can't. You have to have the whole module.
Even on eBay, you can't find one?
Can't find one because, and even if you did, you still have to remove the door panel to put the fucking thing on. So like, you're right back at square one with the cost and the maintenance and the time.
How many thousands we talking?
It's not. It's less than 1,000.
Oh,
but
really?
Yeah, but it's far more annoying than it should be. You know. Like, I mean, even subtracting the cost, it's the fact that my car is in the shop right now because I myself am not going to take my door panel off. Could I? Probably. Would it take me all freaking day? Yes. Do I have that time? No. So it's in the
I
shop.
learned something about myself over the last couple of years. Maybe it's after I became a parent.
Yeah.
But I have very, very, very low tolerance for cars that break more often than they need to.
Yeah. Well, I get that.
And I love beautiful cars. I love the personality.
Yeah.
But, and I think this is very true. There's sort of the, called the gas station compliment. California, we've seen this. If you have a cool car at a gas station, people will come up to you, often men, and compliment it. Or sometimes a thumbs up, you get while you're driving by. You've seen this, right?
That's how I got my window switch broken. I was at a stoplight and somebody put down their window and gave me a thumbs up to talk to my car. I went to roll my window down and the fucking switch broke.
How ironic. But here's what I think those people are trying to communicate. I think what they're trying to say is, I'm glad you're doing it. I like to see that. That looks like a headache.
Oh, you think so?
Thank you for doing that.
That's really funny you should say that. Because the gentleman who gave me a thumbs up has my same car in a different color.
Oh, he's like, oh, you know about that.
And he's like, your car looks brand new and mine doesn't. Little did he know.
In pain.
Yeah, little did he know the switch just broke to have that conversation. So
for me, I've had reliable cars, non-reliable cars. I like having fun driving.
Yeah.
But I also have so much stress associated with that necessary feature is broken, that light is on, I don't like that noise. Like, that drives me nuts.
Yeah, I totally get it. I think with the car thing, like if my watches were breaking, I would go berserk. But I think with the car thing, you're quite literally beating it up on the road every day, right? And I guess you could argue that you're beating up on watches, but I'm actually not that hard on my watches. I don't know what some people do. I don't know why their left arm is just flailing so much.
Over 100 years of R&D into wear and tear on cars. Like, some of them put up with that so well.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong. Yeah, no, I mean, that's fair. And to your point earlier, like you said, the reliability or something of Porsche, right? Like we're talking Lambos and Ferraris. You're like, well, what? I don't know what the word was you used. I forgot. But look, the car drives great. Like, it's fine. It's all good. It's just this stupid piece of plastic broke, and anyway, it's being replaced.
It's part of the psychology of both watches and cars, where we as owners want these things to be microcosms of perfection.
Sure. Yes. Yeah.
And when they're not, it ruins our experience.
Yeah.
We're like, I have broken stuff in other places in my life.
I am the consummate victim of my own expectations. And this is earlier what you were talking about relationships with brands, right? Is that, like, if your expectation is up here, like, they're going to meet you halfway. Don't be a bowling pin and get knocked down, because, like, that's just life. You know what I mean?
I just assume people are going to act predictably, and they're predictably going to act in their self-interest. And the circumstances in which someone treats someone else in such a positive way are rare and take a while. And I'm just trying to be realistic about it.
Yeah. What's the most worn watch this year for you, would you say?
There are definitely watches I gravitate to from time to time. I'll wear a lot more than others.
It could be more than one, because this might be a tough question.
I do wear a lot of Casio.
Okay.
But at all levels. Like cheap Casio, MRG Casio. And it's not just because they're a client and I wrote the G-Shock book. I genuinely like them a lot. All the Japanese brands, they've been good. And I really admire those types of watches a lot. So I'm never someone that grabs particularly high-end stuff. I do worry about wear and tear. I think that I've been wearing a lot of German watches lately.
Okay. Any go-tos?
The thing is, it really depends. German watches come in a lot of different styles. Obviously, like...
Are you a Nomos guy?
No, I'm more into the over-engineered look, or the sort of like diver look, the Flieger look. I have a lot of Laco watches, but it's not like one specific style. I like Zinn, even some of the more high-end German brands. But like, I'm really into the German stuff a lot. Actually, when I was in Germany lately, I thought to myself, if I was restricted and I could only wear German watches ever again, I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm totally cool with that. I'm not saying that they make everything in the world, which is cool. But like if I was like Ariel, you can only wear watches made by German brands. I'd be like, okay. And
Right.
and then that's actually funny because when I was with Porsche Design, I get them so confused. German brand with products proudly made in Switzerland,
Right.
proudly designed in Austria.
I was going to say, because aren't they based in Austria?
So
Yeah.
what are they?
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's like, what's your birth year watch with batch manufacturing?
They have no clue how to express it. Like, we just want people to get that we're a German brand, proudly and only made in Switzerland, and, designed elsewhere in Austria. Like, that's a confusing ass message, right?
Yeah. Where were you meeting with them? Were you at the recent launch in New York?
We did have someone go to that. I was in some other city at the time, but the person who runs their accessories and timepiece division came out here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I'm a big Porsche nut on all levels. Watches.
Yeah, you're not alone. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
It's massive.
That's cool. What's your daily driving car? I passed a white SUV outside.
Yeah, that's
Is that
my
it?
wife drives that.
Okay,
so
that's
we
her car.
we have 2 Volkswagens now. That's an Atlas, and I have I currently have an Arteon, which again another weird niche car. I've had a bunch of Volkswagens, mostly niche ones. I think that car was sold for 2 or 3 years in America only.
What year is it?
It's a 2023, the last year they sold them here.
The Arteon.
Yeah,
Why am I
and
not?
they just stopped them in Germany. They were only made for slightly longer in Germany.
Why am I not picturing what this car is?
Exactly.
What is
exactly.
it? Is it an SUV or a sedan?
It's
Or neither?
It's a weird platform. It's kind of similar to the A7 body. It has a hatchback.
Oh, it's like a sport back. Okay.
But it's a wonderful concept. Only Germans do it well. It's one of those high end understated cars that no one quite understands or wanted to pay for.
The Arteon, yeah.
Because
they did like the Phaeton 15
I had a
years.
Phaeton.
Did you really?
Yeah. I love that car.
Awesome.
I love
Was that
car.
the W12?
It had as an option. I had the 4.2 V8, which was
V8, yeah.
I've had multiple cars with that engine. I freaking love that engine. Like
The 4.2 V8?
Oh my god.
Oh, it was incredible.
Oh my
God.
God.
I think that was in the Audi S4.
It was in all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
It was in all kinds of stuff. Different performance grids of it. Amazing engine. I remember when I was thinking about which engine to get, and my mechanic at the time, who only did Volkswagen, was like, "Don't get the W12." I'm like, "Why? What's wrong with it?" He's like, "It has problems." I'm like, "Okay, can you explain to me what it would be?" It's like engine replacement. I'm like, "What does that mean?" It's like, if there's a problem, you have to replace the engine. I was like, "Okay, I'm not going to do that." So I listen to mechanics a lot. They've swayed me. The last car I got rid of, my mechanic's like, "Ariel, I have bad news." I was like, "Well, what is it? Is the car okay?" He's like, "It's time." I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, "Get rid of it now." Because he understood that there was going to be like $20,000 in work coming up, and like now's the time to get rid of it.
Man, that's a nice guy.
So no, I mean I almost didn't leave San Francisco because of the mechanic over there.
You like drive up there just to get your cars worked on?
I still email with the guy actually. He ended up becoming a watch guy, but I'm saying my mechanic here, I still go over in Hollywood. I drive all the way there because, you trust these people, and they haven't steered me wrong.
He became a watch guy. I find that to be utterly coincidental. What is the watch you most recommend to newbies?
Whatever they can afford. Don't overextend yourself.
somebody hits you with, "I've got $5,000." What do you normally? Zen?
No. Look, I look at this like mate selection.
Okay.
I have no business telling someone who to chase for mate selection. I can give them advice on things to watch out for and false signals and how to prioritize their needs, but who am I to tell someone else who to mate with?
But okay, so how do you answer the question? Just like
I
that?
help them answer it themselves, and I make clear to them, don't spend more than you want to.
Okay.
Comfort in spending is the only way you'll buy the watch after that. So many people, again, you're talking about false expectations, are like, but if I spend more than I can afford, will it elevate my life? Hell no.
No, never does.
It's not going to make you rich. It's not going to open up new doors for you. No one's going to care. The watch is just for you. So don't spend more than you have.
Just because you spent more on dinner, you're not more full.
Well, it depends how much you ordered.
What you know what I mean? Like
if the prices are higher, it's
an
not going to
8-ounce
satiate you
steak
anymore.
for $60 or $120, it's still an 8-ounce steak.
It's a whole other conversation.
Yeah.
But like becoming a watch collector means you buy multiple watches.
Sure.
Not that you have an amazing watch that makes you feel amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The process of learning about watches, selecting watches. So the goal is to make sure that you can stay in the hobby. And if you overextend yourself financially or keep aiming towards watches you can't afford, you're not going to stay in the hobby and you're going to disappoint yourself. So you know that even if your budget is $50 a watch, you can go and buy used stuff or old stuff or whatever it is you want and still get that kick. So structure your hobby around being able to get a kick every several months so you stay in the hobby.
Fair enough. Ariel, thanks, man. This was super fun.
Yeah, my pleasure. Are we done?
We're wrapping it up.
That was fast.
It was fast. I think, how fast was it? Hour and 4 minutes.
Oh, okay. Well, that was fun, Wesley. I appreciate that, and I hope the audience enjoyed our discussion.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for the hospitality as well. I can't wait. Oh, you know what? We're not ending there. I want to ask you about these books behind me.
Yeah, that's a book I wrote. Just a few different languages.
Oh, they're just in different languages. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
Got
said
it.
that so for that book, the publisher sent me a few, and I'm just like, okay, I'll put them there. I don't know why. I mean, that book came in like 6 to 7 different languages. I don't know why I have 2 Italian ones. There's a French one in there, I think. I don't know. There was a Russian and Chinese one I never got.
Wow, that's crazy. That Monaco tote bag is crazy cool.
Isn't that fun?
That's really good. It's sorry folks, I know no visuals, but basically picture a square tote bag. The handles are all red, and then the entire tote is the square face of the Monaco from Tag Heuer. So don't picture it in a case, just picture the dial only being the entire side of the tote bag. It's really cool. Blue dial specifically. Ariel, thank you.
Thank you.
This wraps up this episode of the Standard H podcast. If you like what you heard, I'd love it if you'd share it with a friend or two. And if you have a moment, please rate and review the show as it helps others discover these episodes. It absolutely helps far more than you realize. Shout out to Jensen Reed and Super Beautiful for the theme track. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll catch you in the next one. Take care.